Good morning, children. In today's video lecture, we are going to study how to write good notices. Children, according to layman's perspective, a notice may be a kind of or a piece of information which has to be provided to some other person or group of persons so that they may react accordingly. If we go by the formal meaning of notice, so notices actually are a means of formal communication targeted at a particular person or a group of persons, or you can say to a mass. That is in fact a news item informing such person or persons of some important event. This can be an invitation to a meeting, an announcement of any event, or to issue certain instructions or make appeals, etc. In fact, notices are generally written and then displayed at a public place from where they can be accessible to all. And notice boards are the perfect place from where everyone can have the view of the notice. But if it is meant for a wider audience here means the people in a village or a city or a district or a state or a country, then it can even be published in a newspaper. The government, when issue notices, it must publish in a national and local papers. Here I am talking about the government notices like corrigendum, then about tenders or any other thing. Let's study about the format of notice, and this format is very important because you should stick to it, and if only you will stick to the format, you will be able to gain marks. So see children, this is the exact format of the notice. First of all, on the top there is the name of the issuing agency or authority. This issuing agency or the name of the organization could be any school, any company, or if it is a government notice, the corresponding department like electricity department, water department, or anything else. Then on the block letters we write notice. Why we write notice? Because in the newspaper, if it is published, there's a lot of information which is there in the newspaper. So to give a clear indication to the readers that these are notices, this is written in capital letters. Then comes the date of issue or the release of the notice, means when the notice has been written. Below that there is title of the subject of the event, or you can say the topic on which the notice has been written. Then there is body or content of the notice, and in the body what do we mention? The date, time, duration, place or venue of the event about which we are talking. Then again on the left hand side, after that there is authorized signatory. The authorized signatory here means the person who has issued the notice. So we must mention his or her name along with designation and signature. So children, let's study these parts one by one. So what are these parts? Name of issuing authority, then notice, then date, then title, then body, then authorized signature. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So let's study these 6 parts one by one. So first of all, there is name of the issuing organization authority. Right at the very top, you print the name of the person or company that is issuing the said notices, because this will help the reader identify the notices as important or unimportant. Suppose if I am waiting for the notice of electricity department, so just by reading the name of the organization on the top like this, that is name of the issuing authority, I can coordinate that this notice belongs to which department, and if it is not my concerned notice, I will skip that notice. Then, as I told you, comes on in bold letters the word notice. Actually, what is the importance of this? Let's study. This helps draws attention to the document. Notices are generally posted at a public place or published in newspapers, and it is important that they do not get lost in a sea of information. So, a bold title clearly mentioned helps draw the attention, as I told you earlier. Then comes the date. So, after the title, to the left hand side, we print the date on which the notices have been published. And since this is a formal document, date is an important aspect of it, since these documents stay on record, because the notices are sticked on the notice boards, published in newspaper, and in the meantime they are pinned in a file for as a record. So the date is important. Then comes the heading. It means then we move on to an appropriate heading to the notices. This heading should make abundantly clear the purpose of the notices. So as you can see, this heading it is there after the date, that is the title or subject of the event. After the heading, then there is the body, and we must write in brief and to the point in the body of the notice, because notices are considered formal and we must be to the point. The main contents of the notices features in the body. At the end there is writer's name, or as I told you, the authorized signatory. So we write the name and the designation of the notice writer, and the notices have to also be signed by the same person to lend it authority and validity, because then he or she would be the whole soul in charge of that notice. Now let's study about the content or the body of the notice. Means how we can make our content of the notice more attractive or more clear or more precise. Notices should cover some important points that are to be communicated to the readers. Let us summarize the 5 points that the content of the notice will cover, the 5 W's. So children, today I will tell you about 5 W's which should be covered in a notice. Not compulsorily all, means whatever is important. So let's study the first W, that is what. It is important and it generally comes in every notice, and it tells us what is the notice all about. So the notice should be clear about what is going to happen, any event, or what has already happened. Means either we are reporting about any event in the notice, or we are going to tell about any future event. See, this is the crux of the message and it should be written clearly. There should not be any kind of ambiguity. Then the next W is where. If the notice is about an event, then the location of such an event must be written clearly. So where means location, or the venue or the locations are important details, so make sure to include this in the notice. Next comes when, or you can say date. So this is the time and the date of the event or meeting. If possible, the duration of the event should also be mentioned to people so that they can schedule their time accordingly. So as I told you, this is a busy world and everybody's time is important. So if we can mention the time duration of whatever event we are publishing the notice, then it would be very nice. Then the fourth W is who. Means this who means the target audience, or to whom our notice is related to. So this will be who the notice is addressed to, who all are supposed to adhere to the notice should be clearly mentioned to avoid confusion. Next W is whom. I can say, and final details should be whom to contact or get in touch with. This mentions who the appropriate authority is to contact. And let me tell you, this whom is the person authorized signatory. Alright, so the last W, that is whom, it tells us that in case of any query, the person will contact the authorized signatory. So there is name, designation and signature of that person, and generally mobile number is also mentioned in nowadays. So children now understand some important tips with the help of which we can make our notice an exact notice. So first of all, be precise and to the point. As I told you that it is a formal piece of writing, so be precise. Children, the board exams, the length of the notice is 50 words. So be precise and exact. Don't cross the word limit. And if you are writing precise language, then it is appreciated. As it is a formal form of communication, so the language should be very formal. No flowery text, no means good English words are necessary. See, you should use good English words when you are writing in literature. But it is a notice, and as you very well know that it is to be read by all the persons of different IQ levels. So you should use simple and easy to understand words. Keep the sentences short and use simple words. Since notices are fairly brief, it is best to keep it simple. Use passive voice as far as possible. Since children, this is a very important point, so I'll try to explain it to you. Generally, you know what happens when we start writing the content or the body of the notice, we write like this: I want to inform all the students of class 12 that a music competition is going to be organized. See children, you are not informing. Even if you are informing, don't write I want to inform. Instead, you can use the phrase it's hereby informed to all the concerned, to all the persons or to all the students, whatever is needed. So don't use first person, use third person pronoun, and possibly use passive voice. Present your notices in a proper format in a box, means once your notice is complete, you must include it in a box. The presentation should be neat and thus be appealing to the eye. So children, this is the board question paper, and it is the question in the advanced writing skills section, and the advanced writing skills section consists of 30 marks. It is section B, and you can see these two are notices which have to be written. So children, these two questions are your assignments also. So after watching the video, you will solve these two questions of notice writing, and I will supply you the PDF of this question which you have to solve in fair copy. So I think you have understood about notice writing. For any queries, contact me. Thank you.